It started with COVID, and what we saw with COVID, as people were unable to go to work and produce things, the availability of raw materials suddenly declined. But funnily enough, people carry on eating and drinking, so the demand was still there. So as more people chase less products, inevitably you find that the price goes up. So that was at the core of the price inflation in food. The biggest glass factories in Europe that manufacture glass for a range of suppliers. With COVID, they had to shut down the furnaces, and these take 4 to 6 weeks to fire up. While the demand was still there, suddenly you've got a 6-week backlog of glass. And as I said earlier, the demand is still there, the supply isn't, the price goes up.
There's also been problems, as I understand it, with moving products across Europe.
Correct, and that's two elements. So on the one hand, with COVID, what we saw, the lorry drivers was an aging profession, and there was elements of Brexit there as well. So Europe is short of lorry drivers to move merchandise. Even if something is shipped to Gibraltar, you still need a driver to take it to the port. And the same analogy, the less lorry drivers you have and the big amount of product you have to move, their wages go up, so that it adds to the wage inflation. Then you add increase in fuel costs, so the cost of bringing stuff to Gibraltar increases again.
When we think about Gibraltar's situation, we're right next to Spain and Europe, and we use the pound, but they use the euro, so there's that complication too.
Exactly, and any exchange, any volatility in the exchange rates is not good for business. So if I give you our example, we set an internal rate and we cost all our products to that rate. And then invariably we have to pay for those products within 45 days. As the euro and the pound fluctuate in between those periods, you suddenly find that you're out of pocket because of an exchange rate fluctuation. So it's hard to predict, but equally as it fluctuates, we have to either increase or sometimes decrease prices. But lately it's been increasing prices.
Yeah. So you've actually normally update your prices once a year, but you've had to break with that tradition.
Well, it depends on the beverages that tends to be more stable, where you're not dealing with as many commodities. We have tended to price increase once a year. On food commodities, that's very much as you go case. So for example, if you're unable to catch as many cod as you need, suddenly the price of cod goes up, and that has to get passed as it comes along. So yeah, for the first time in my 20-odd years in the company, we've had to increase beverage prices twice because of the price increases we're getting and some exchange fluctuation.
What does it all mean for your company, and what does it mean for the businesses that you supply?
Well, sadly, this is a worldwide problem. So little Gibraltar isn't immune, although we have seen costs of operating in Gibraltar rise. Things like national insurance contributions have had to rise, and it's understandable that government needs to increase their revenues because we're all in the same hole after COVID. But all of that adds to the cost of doing business, and essentially, a business exists to make a profit for its shareholders. We're neither a charity nor a public sector body or an NGO. If we're not making a profit for our shareholders, there's no point of us being here. So we have to pass on the price increases, which is then reflected to our customers, and then our customers reflected to their own customers, be it people walking to the shops or people eating at the bars and restaurants. And that's the insidious nature of inflation. It gets us all.